Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Jordan, and I'll be guiding you through this effect patch I've made. It sounds a little bit like something you would hear in Metroid Prime 2, echoes. So I'll open it up, and I'll start playing some notes, so that way you can have a listen. So that's the patch we're going to be making today. So right off the bat, I'm going to create a combinator. I'm going to create two maelstroms, create one, click and use Alt to copy and drag down. Right after this, let's see, I use a compressor, a Scream 4 distortion unit, an equalizer, and a maximizer. Alright, so for the first maelstrom, since that's already connected, we actually need to take that out. Our first maelstrom, we're actually going to set the rate to about 88, the shift 3/4, and change it to a Chinese roof. For the second one, we're going to change the rate to about 108, but turn it to sync. Turn it to a curve 2, or in this case a saw. The volume all the way up. The attack all the way up. Decay all the way down. Sustain a little bit towards it, and the release all the way up. Take the attack a little bit down and the release a little bit down. And the amount all the way up, inversion as well. We're also going to, for our first, actually I want to tackle the velocity first. For the F envelope, we're going to turn that up a bit. The attack all the way down, shift all the way up, and the mod about 2/4 or so. Actually just a little bit, half. Index up a bit, shift up a bit, and just leave those two there and change it to A. Make sure the polyphonic is 6 and the range is 8. For our first oscillator, we're going to change it to a finger symbol. And let me just see where that is so I'm not wasting your time. It's in a percussion. Synth. Actually, I'm not even sure. Oh yeah, here it is, finger symbol. Take it down an octave and the shift down a bit. And the motion up a bit. For our second oscillator, we're going to turn it to fuzz harmonics. Let me make sure where this is again. It's in guitars. Alright, for our second oscillator, we're going to take it down 2 octaves, shift down about 1/4, the motion all the way down, and for the envelopes, just take the decay down a bit, and the sustain down a bit. Bring up the release. Same thing for the first one, except for the first one, bring it down a little bit more, and the release down a bit. The sustain down a bit, and the release up a bit. Same thing for the attack. Alright, make sure one of them goes to shaper and one of them goes to filter B. For the shaper, we're going to use just the basic sine wave and turn the amount down. For filter A, we're actually going to turn the frequency up to 96 and the resonance up to 36. For the second one, we're going to turn for both filters, turn it for keyboard tracking. Turn up the frequency a bit and turn up the resonance a bit. make sure it's a combinator plus. And turn up the spread as well. Now if we have a listen. It's very faint, but you can definitely hear it. It has the percussion of our first synth if we go back and listen. It's faint, but it's there. So right now I'm going to take out the main output, plug it into the second maelstrom, and take out the main output and plug it into everything else. I'm trying to go through this as fast as I can so I'm not wasting your time. We're going to turn up the polyphonic to 16 and the range to 12. Let's see, we're only going to take down the filter, and that'll do for the velocity. For our rates on our modulation A, we're going to take the rate down a bit. Turn it on one shot and sync. For our first oscillator, we're going to take it to strings. This shouldn't be very hard to find. Yep, it's in miscellaneous. We're going to leave it as is, except turn up the attack a bit, the decay down a bit, and the sustain is good. The release up a little bit past halfway, and turn it to shaper. For our second one, we're going to do the same thing, turn it to strings. So it's in miscellaneous, strings. And just leave it as is. Make sure to turn it on. And copy the same exact pattern as our first one. So turn up the attack, bring down the decay, leave the sustain, and turn up the release. Make sure both of these are turned on, the routing settings. For our shaper, if you turn it on, I'm sorry, for modulation B, we're going to turn it to curve 2. Actually, yeah, curve 1 actually, I'm sorry. Turn the rate down about a quarter. Turn it on one shot and sync. And leave as is. For our shaper, we're going to turn it to saturate and take it a little bit before halfway, so about 46. For our filter B, we're going to actually turn up the freak and the resonance, but make sure it's on AM. For filter A, we're going to turn it on keyboard. I'm sorry, make sure both keyboard followers are on. Turn it to AM. Turn up the frequency a bit and the resonance a bit. And turn the spread all the way to full way. Now if we have a listen, we should have our basic initialize of the patch. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to take out the output of the maximizer and plug it in. Hold on, I want to make sure I'm not missing anything. I'll bypass the screen 4. Okay, so I'll be right back, and we're back. So I couldn't quite figure out what the problem is right now, but I changed the filter envelope to match my other one, which is the attack up a bit, the decay up a bit, and the sustain and release about the same levels, but just a little bit higher. And if you must know, the release is down a bit. So I was looking through everything, and everything is perfectly fine, so I'm not sure why it's sounding this way. But I digress. So for our compressor, if we move on, we're going to turn it to 16.1. Our threshold down a bit, and our input gain up a little bit. Our attack down, and our release up a bit, and our output gain about 6.8. We're still getting more strings, so I think we actually fixed the problem. I just needed to turn up the volume Although that's not the same on my other patch. Forget about it. Just do what sounds most natural. Yeah, so just turn up the volume a bit. Okay, so for our Scream 4 distortion, we're going to take it to tape. Turn the damage control down a bit, and P2 and P1 all the way up. And we're not going to mess with the body or the cut. For our equalizer, we're going to turn on low cut. Parameter 1, take it about to 187. Gain all the way down, Q all the way up. Parameter 2, take it about 2.5 kilohertz or so. Gain all the way down, Q all the way up. And high shelf, bring the frequency down and the gain up a bit, and the Q down. For our final one, we're going to actually turn up what I always do, soft clip all the way up. Release, auto, 4 milliseconds, take off limiter, and take the output and push it out a bit. Same for the input. And we should have our Metroid patch. Let me make sure it's the same sound. So it's a little bit different because I'm not following exactly the same coordinates as the previous patch, but it still sounds pretty good and it still sounds very affecting. So, thanks for watching, and make sure to subscribe and like. I'm not going to be monetizing any videos, only the videos that become very popular. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys Friday.